You're listening to Women Who Badass Radio, where we interview high-achieving women to find out how they achieved their stellar results. Hey everybody, Crystal Covington here, and I am talking to an amazing woman today who has done what I would consider some incredible feats, because I can't imagine going from where I am to owning a gluten-free kitchen, cooking all the things that she does. So you're going to be excited to meet this woman, and you're going to want to eat her food. So I'm sorry about your pocketbook. It's not that expensive, but you're going to want to go to the store after this. Her name is Victoria Wolf, and she is the mastermind behind Victoria's Gluten-Free Kitchen, a brand I personally eat at home and watched rise during my career in grocery retail. Victoria has a multi-decade background in marketing, but after finding a passion for creating a gluten-free bread that actually tastes good, she started a journey to create and market a solution that is now an award-winning national brand. I'm excited to have her here today to talk about her amazing journey. Victoria, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited. So it's really fun I feel like I've been a part of the journey because I've gotten to see you as you grew. I didn't see you at the very, very beginning, but I got to watch you during some of the growth phase and see the progression, learn about what you were doing, and it was just really fun to be a part of. I love the fact that through the work that I do, I get to be a part of women's lives that are doing these amazing things. So I really want you to give a little bit more I just gave a basics, and especially it was from my perspective. So I want to hear about your journey and what you want the audience to know about you and all of the things that you've been doing.
Oh, okay. Well, getting started in gluten-free was kind of an accident in a way. I've been gluten-free since 2007, and then I met my now husband, Rich, in 2013, and when we got together, he's like, okay, I'm cool with this gluten-free lifestyle. I want to support you, but, what about pizza? I love pizza, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I love pizza too. Let me show you your options. And so we went and got all the frozen pizza, crust options, Bob's pizza mix. We made them all. And he's like, this stuff sucks. And I'm like, yeah, well, welcome to my world. I'm sorry. He's like, well, why don't we just make our own? And I'm like, no, I've stayed away from the 9 million gluten-free flours required to make anything for all these years. And I'm not a baker. He's like, come on, it's pizza. And I'm like, okay, we'll try. And then it was after about a year of playing with the recipe, we realized we had something pretty amazing. And, there's certain times in your life that are so, I guess, profound is the word, that you'll never forget them. And so we were testing our gluten-free pizza with our friends, and all our friends were not gluten-free. And they were over one night. It was in, I think, July or so of 14, and they were trying pizza, they were eating it, and they were just losing their mind. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is gluten-free. I would never know if you didn't tell me. This is so wonderful. And at the time, Rich and I have been throwing around the idea of actually starting the company, the manufacturing and product company, and we're like, oh, it's a lot of work. I don't know if we want to. Rich had been in the food business in some way most of his entire career, so he had a lot of knowledge of that. And then I just sat there, and I remember thinking, this is my responsibility. This is my calling. This is what I have to do. I have to share this with the world. I can't keep this to myself. It's not fair. There's so many people out there just like me that just want to enjoy pizza, and I have to do this. And so this whole thing that I'm doing, everything that I've been through is my calling. I finally found my calling all my life. It was like, what am I supposed to be doing? What's the meaning of it all? And this is it. Gluten-free pizza, which then turned into breads and buns and ready-to-bake pizzas and garlic breads, and it just keeps evolving. So it's pretty wonderful to know that you're on your path.
Yeah, it's amazing to know that you're on your path. And the funny thing, I see a lot of similarities in our journeys with the gluten-free lifestyle. Your pizza is the only one that me and my husband will eat together. I mean, if he's desperate and I made one of those Dia pizzas or something, because that's wherever I shop, it's not always going to have the same stuff. So if I buy like the Dia one that tastes like a cracker, the crust, He'll eat it in a pinch if he's just really hungry and he doesn't want what else is in the refrigerator. But when he wants to have like a shared pizza night, because one of his things is like for us to share meals and be eating the same thing. We'll do yours. So it's like we just have to go to a grocery store a little farther to make sure that we get it and get on them to make sure it's always there.
Right. Yeah, that's always a challenge too, is especially with natural grocers, because they have autonomy within each store to carry what they want outside of your set. And so, you just got to make sure it's there.
Yeah. And I remember back in 2008-ish, it was like right after I graduated college where I started realizing something wasn't right with food. It wasn't as bad as it is now. But at that time, I had to go to these health food stores, and the bread was like a it was a brick. So then I was like, this is gross. Why do they even sell this? And I tried doing my own bread. Like I bought the baking pan and the mix and all this kind of stuff, and it was just a mess. The home baked bread is odd. It was really interesting to learn to do that and experiment. So being gluten-free caused experimentation. But I find it amazing today that there's just so much out there now, compared to just a few, I guess that wasn't just a few years ago. That's a long time ago, but it feels like overnight, all of a sudden, there's tons of great things out there. And I just want to push it on people that aren't even gluten-free. Like, please eat this stuff so that the stores keep buying it. And so, like, this continues to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah, it was always Rich and I's goal to create a product that was good enough, I guess is the best way to classify it, for other people that aren't gluten-free. Because in every gluten-free person has a family. And they might have, children, spouses, and they're not always gluten-free. There's some total gluten-free households and families, and it's very isolating when you're gluten-free and your family is not. And they may support you, but then they still eat their glutinous food, at the same meal. And it's very difficult. And so we wanted to create products that everybody could enjoy and not feel like they were missing out, which wasn't the case. Yeah, I remember all that crappy bread and pizza from way back, and it's a kind of an evolution of gluten-free. Back then, it was like, you need to give the gluten-free something. At least you have something. Stop complaining you have bread. It may taste terrible, but you have it. And so that has evolved to, and it's still evolving. It's not, when it comes to restaurants, they're not all there yet. They're still in we have an option for you, shut up and eat it. And now the consumers are saying, okay, I like that, thank you, but I want something that tastes good. I want something that reminds me of what I had to give up because my body doesn't like gluten anymore. I want to be happy. I want to feel joy in my food. And so that's where you're seeing the gluten-free go now. And there's so many wonderful companies, producing amazing products. We don't do anything on the sweet side. We're all savory and yeast-risen products. But Cat is one of my favorite brands, and they do donuts.
Yes,
and apple pie.
Donuts are oh my gosh, they're addictive.
They have Twinkies now, but they don't call them Twinkies.
What?
And like what is it? The chocolate cupcakes with it. I forget what the old conventional brand name of that was, but they have those. They have everything, and it's so good. And you could feed it to anybody. They'd never say it was gluten-free. That's how good it is.
Yeah, they make good stuff too.
They do.
So I want to really dig into this career change too, because you made a big transition from, being in marketing to creating and selling food products in a retail setting. I mean, that's a big difference. Can you share some of the things that you had to explore and learn? And I'm sure there's a lot, but if you can condense to a few key things that you had to do, like one, what was the transition like and how did that stretch you? And two, what were some of the things that you had to figure out for the first time, trial and error as a newbie in this new market?
Yeah, it was a big transition. I had never been in a commercial kitchen, restaurant, or anything my entire life, except for when I was 16, I worked at Wendy's for 4 hours, and that was it. That was my food, my restaurant career. I was there long enough. I'm like, okay, yeah, never coming back. Thank you. And so, creating a product like a food product means you've got to get into a kitchen. You've got to work in a kitchen. We started off selling to restaurants, which means you had to deal with chefs. And luckily, Rich had a ton of that sales and dealing with restaurants and chefs experience because he was working for Cisco Foods at the time we started the company. But I had none of that. And so he taught me a lot of it. But just being in a commercial kitchen and learning how do you clean this kitchen properly when you're done? What are the food safety? I mean, the list is so long of the things that I had to learn. But what's so wonderful about it is that it wasn't a hurdle. It wasn't anything that I would say, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this. It was the most joy that I'd ever felt in my working career. I mean, I enjoyed marketing. I still actually do work in my marketing company because the food business is not the most lucrative, especially early on. So you got to support yourself. And but the marketing part of it was so wonderful that it wasn't a big change for me. It was just I didn't have a client. I had myself as a client, and so I had to take everything that I've done for other people all these years and do it for my own business, which was nice to have that knowledge base, and it saved a lot of time. It saved a lot of energy and money for sure. But Rich did a really good job of training me about. There's all this lingo. Like here's a good example, and I say it all the time now. People must think I'm crazy if I'm not talking to food people. And I'll be like, hey, you just slack that out, and it'll be ready in half an hour or so. And slack that out means to frost it. But that's what they say in the food word. It's like, yeah, does that come frozen or slacked out? It's all this lingo. And then when you get into the grocery distribution stuff, like UNFI, there's an acronym right there. But there are our distributor for grocery. They actually send you a flyer, a sheet with all the acronyms they use, so you can understand how they talk to you. It's crazy. It's like a foreign world, but it's been so much fun to learn everything. And I think that the best part of it is it made me discover my passion for food, and I was able to really start cooking and chefing it up all over the place. And that's been really amazing. But the marketing part, it served me well, having all those years of working for others and now putting it towards my own business.
Yeah, and you've done a good job about that, and your logos and all of that are really well done. It's just I think for a lot of new brands, when I talk to people who have started things, one of the biggest challenges for them is the marketing piece, because they're just not sure how to make it look good. They end up with these cheap looking labels, and one of the things that people buy for is they look to the brand to determine quality and their trust in whether or not this is a product they want to try out. So that piece actually ends up being really huge, unless you're sampling out, and then they can taste it and be like, okay, well now I know. Sometimes that branding and just the way that you position the look and feel and the marketing of it in all aspects can make a difference in sales. Like a big difference.
Oh, completely. Yeah. And if you're asking somebody to make a choice standing there at the shelf, that's where your packaging comes in. Because if they don't have much else to go on, it's their first impression. Oh, does this look good? I mean, it's all visual. So yeah, it's really important, and I'm happy that I was able to do that. And that's a big fun part of what I do. When we went through the rebrand last year, that was very exciting to redo the logo and redo all the packaging, and it's a little weird, now that it's my name, and it's like my name and my photo are everywhere. I walk in the kitchen and it's all Victoria all the time.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's all about you, but I think some of the best brands have a human being tied to it. So that you're supporting a person. When it looks like a machine, like I think of something like Udi's. Udi's was started by some human being. I just don't know who that is. When I think of their brand, I think
Udi Barong.
Oh, okay, that's the person's name. Really?
Yeah. He lives in Denver. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
When I think of it, I just think, well, this is just big business. I don't want to support that. So it's like, well, so I look at it and I think, well, I want to support something that seems a little smaller. So I go for something like a Canyon Bakehouse or Victoria's Gluten-Free Kitchen, whatever is available there that I know seems like a smaller brand, even though I know now Canyon Bakehouse is like big business too.
They are, but they're still run by the same people who started the company. She herself is celiac. So yeah, you still are supporting a small brand. They're a little bit different than Udi's. There was no gluten-free person in Udi's when they started their gluten-free line, but at Canyon there is.
So I think that is a benefit, is just having that person, that human aspect to it, and for people that just love to support those who are building something, those who came out with a mission. I think that piece is a benefit.
Yeah, and that's our intent. That's our goal, to hang on and promote and expand that consumer connection, because people do want to know where their food came from. They do want to know that a human being's actually made their food. And so we want to make sure that we convey that to our consumers that we're here hand forming everything. And all the love that we feel for this product is going into the product.
Yeah, I love that. So I was involved only briefly. For a couple of years, I worked for a grocery chain. And so being involved in retail, the funny thing is I took this job, and then when I was taking the job offer, I said, yes, I'd love to be your director of public relations. They said, yeah, okay, by the way, you're also going to be the director of customer service. And
oh my.
I got to learn through being part of the customer service department and kind of looking at what happens with the customer experience with stores, and I had to do a lot of partnering with the teams that pick foods and all of that stuff, and learn about all the different aspects of what goes on. I realize now the food business is chaotic, and it's a really unique beast to be a part of. So I'd love to know how you've overcome some of the barriers of being part of this kind of chaotic industry, to try to make sure that, I've seen you do a great job of trying to, I think you do store visits in different places and things like that to try to make sure you have shelf space. I had a friend also who worked for Nestle, and she, I learned a lot from watching her and what she had to do to make sure she kept shelf space and all of that, and the distribution, and making sure that she's, getting things sold in the stores. But what was your tactic for managing all those barriers and getting past some of the hurdles that definitely are part of being a part of that retail genre?
And you're right. The food industry is so chaotic. You can ask my employees. It's like everything changes all the time because something new comes. A new order comes in, or we got to do this, or we got to do that. And the industry itself is like that. And so I had pure and total ignorance when I got started with this, which helped me out a lot. And I'm like, okay, this is what I want. I don't see why it can't happen. and so I kind of had that attitude the entire way. And Natural Grocers was the store that meant the most to me to have our products in, because that's where I shopped as a gluten-free person. It was my favorite store. And so we fought really hard to get in there. And over the last 3 years, I've learned that I'm probably the queen of the impassioned email, because in the food business, you don't get to talk to people ever, really. If you get them to read an email, you have won. That's like winning the biggest race. And so I learned to write what I call the impassioned email that tells my story and tells them what I want. And I got pretty good at it, because I got us a lot of things along the way. And I have this really good relationship with Natural Grocers. And Rich and I we just go and we do. And I think we have the idealism of like a 20-year-old with this business. And it's like, this is what we want, and we don't care what obstacles you put in our way, we're going to get what we want. and because they're obviously very passionate. So the story I like to tell of how crazy this business is, but how much it's worth it. Last January, I sent an email to Natural Grocers, the frozen buyer, and we didn't have distribution. We were distributed. We were self-distributed. Every product that we went to a grocery store or a restaurant, we delivered ourselves. And getting into distribution for grocery is really the only way that you grow. And it had eluded us. The main distributor, UNFI, didn't even want to talk to us. And so I sent him an email and I said, what do I need to do to get UNFI's attention? And she answered me back, which I thought was great to begin with. And she says, you need to double your sales at the end of summer, and we'll talk. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do that. And then we had just bought our frozen delivery vehicle, Zippy J McFreeze, which we name everything in the kitchen. You'll have to come by sometime, and I'll introduce you to the mixer that has a name and the oven that has a name.
Oh my
gosh. And we had to fly to Wisconsin to pick it up because that's where we bought it from, because for some reason you can't buy a refrigerated or a frozen vehicle anywhere but Wisconsin. And so I thought, oh my God, on the way back, we're driving I-80. Do you know how many natural grocers there are along I-80 in Iowa and Nebraska? I'm like, let's just see if we can get in. Now that we have this van, we can just drive product to Iowa and Nebraska. Why not? Well, that's exactly what we did every 3 weeks for 9 months in 2018. And we had already hit our goal about March or so. I wanted a couple more months, a month or so under my belt. We had doubled our sales, and I went back to Natural Grocers. I said, I did it. Now what? How do I get into UNFI? And they recommended us, and boom, September, our first order went into UNFI. So now we don't deliver our own grocery. Now we can actually grow. And so we've expanded to Kansas and Missouri and Utah. But if you want something bad enough, you do just about anything. I mean, those drives to Iowa were grueling, but yet some of the best times that Rich and I have spent in our lives. And it was a very rewarding experience. I have this love of Iowa that if you would have told me, 5 years ago, oh God, you're going to love Iowa. And you're going to have all this Iowa college, wear, hats and socks and shirts. And it's like, no. But yeah, that's what happened. I love Iowa. And Nebraska's pretty good too. Except, well, only the eastern part, not the other part. It's pretty boring.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Iowa when I worked for a financial company headquartered there, but I've never had to drive there. I can't even imagine.
It is 8 hours in the car, 9 hours on the clock just to get to Omaha, Nebraska from here. And then it's 2 hours to Des Moines, and then another 2 hours to Iowa City, another hour to Davenport, and then boom, you're all the way through Iowa.
Wow.
But we were as far north as we're in Cedar Falls. There's a Natural Grocers in Cedar Falls, which is up by Waterloo. We were in every store in the state, and they were kind of spread out. But it was a great experience, and we're in distribution now. But still, keeping your shelf space is always a challenge. You've got to have a great relationship with the store when it comes to Natural Grocers because of the way their stores run. When it comes to places like King Soopers, Whole Foods, the bigger chains, you have to have a relationship with corporate rather than at store level. And we're very, very close to getting the King Soopers. I'm going to say it's going to be this year. I'm very optimistic.
Okay, fingers crossed for that because that'll be great.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I have to know, one of the things, that I even talked about this today. I had a coaching session with a sales expert, and he was kind of talking about, well, what are you passionate about? What is, what makes you able to do these, what emotionally is going to make you continue to do the things that are uncomfortable, that you don't feel like doing to, make this business as successful as you're talking about. And it really does make you think about it. Like, what is it, And so when I think about your business, like, what is it like to be able to walk through these stores, and how do you feel when you're walking around and you see on the store shelf your product, or see somebody, eating a burger at a restaurant and know that's your gluten-free bun that they're eating? What is the feeling that you have when you're having this experience of seeing what you created?
I think the best way to describe the experience is that every single time it's surreal. it's hard to believe. It's, oh my, yeah, every time I see the products on the shelf in the store, I'm like, that's my product, and that's my name, that's my picture. It's still crazy, and I think it always will be, because it's never something I thought would happen in my life. And when I've gone to quite a few restaurants that serve our products. I always like to joke that the only reason we started this company is so I could go out and eat, so we could sell our products to restaurants, so I had places to eat. So, but almost every single time the pizza comes, one of my favorite places to eat our pizza crust is Bardo. They do such an amazing job with our crust. But every time it comes, I have to look at it and go, that's not my crust. That looks like a conventional pizza. It looks too good. And I'm like, and then I start eating. I was like, this is my crust. I'm eating my crust in a restaurant. It still freaks me out. I'm like, yeah, it's crazy good. But what keeps me going is knowing that I'm not the only person that is having this joyful experience with this pizza, and being able to bring that joyful experience with the pizza or the hamburger buns or the bread or whatever it is to all these other people, that's what gets me out of bed in the morning. And that's what keeps me doing whatever I have to do to make this business successful. Driving to Iowa every 3 weeks for 9 months, whatever it takes, working 7 days a week. But it's all about making people happy and adding something to their lives. When 27 years I've been doing the marketing, I was helping people. I always knew that. I was helping businesses. I was helping individuals too, but I never really thought I was doing anything really important. And now I feel like I'm doing something that's actually improving people's lives. I'm sometimes on a daily basis, and I can't imagine, wanting or needing to do anything more than that. That's the most fulfilling thing I could do in my life.
Yeah, that's just so beautiful, everything that you just shared. So what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the business that you can share publicly? Tell us about what you see in the future.
Well, right now, we've come a long way with this business, but in the scope of a food industry, we still have so much further to go. And on a daily basis, it's about adding new stores, gaining traction with consumers, just growing and growing and growing. And we have, I can't share that we do have some new products that probably won't come out for a year and a half or so, and they're unique. I can't tell you what they are, unfortunately. Sorry. They're unique. They don't exist in the marketplace, and they would make many people very, very happy. And so that's really exciting. And then at some point in the next year and a half to 2 years, if not sooner, we're going to get to a position that we can add meat to pizza, which right now we don't have the facility. You need a very specialized USDA facility, and that's going to open up our pizza market even more, because we already have some pizzas lined up that we want to put out there. And it's just, it's the daily grind to just keep growing. One of the things I am going to focus on a lot this year is I'm going to start doing some cooking videos, a lot more recipes and blogging, so I can share delicious food with everyone, and start interacting more with the gluten-free community and help support them in any way that I can, and just growing the brand.
Yeah. Oh, you could do those on TV too, because I experienced you doing that. We did it together.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but that would be really fun to see, is, those daytime TV shows. That's one of the things that I focused on when I was at Natural Grocers, was doing tons and tons of those TV segments, and they're always hungry for new recipes.
Yeah, so definitely. I want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully I see you on TV all the time.
Yeah, it's not at least on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
But I want to, I think you can probably relate to this, Crystal, the joy you find in your gluten-free life is very dependent on your level of cooking skill. And if you can't cook very well, you're not going to eat very well. And, this could be said about a conventional diet or food too, but I think more so with gluten-free. And so it's my goal to get out there and help people learn how to cook delicious food that they'll enjoy and their family enjoy, that will be gluten and dairy-free as well. And a lot of people don't have those skills and don't know where to start. And so I want to give them, I want to help them out with that.
That's so amazing. So what other messages do you want to share with our audience before we go?
I want to, anybody who's listening that has a dream, that thinks it's crazy, stupid, too hard, whatever you want to do to keep yourself from your dream, I just say do it. But I will tell you that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be painless, but it is going to be probably the most rewarding thing that you've ever done in your life, whether you succeed or fail. One of the things that Rich and I said to each other when we started this business, we said we would rather be 85 years old, sitting in our rocking chairs on the front porch and look at each other and go, you know what, we tried. And rather than looking at each other going, God, what if we would have done that? Where would we be right now? But we want to be able to say we did it, whether it was successful or not, we did it. And the doing it, I think, is the important thing.
Yeah, get out and do it. So our conversation got cut off there, but I want to close out by thanking Victoria for being here and talking to us about her journey in starting Victoria's Gluten-Free Kitchen. And I thank you for listening in and being part of this discussion so that you can get a little bit of a tip from her journey and share with others to let them know what is possible in the world. If you'd like to learn more about Victoria's Gluten-Free Kitchen, you can visit victoriasglutenfreekitchen.com and find links to be able to follow online. She's looking for gluten-free influencers, so definitely reach out if you are a gluten-free influencer and would love to represent the brand. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you next time. Thanks for listening to Women Who Badass Radio. To join our tribe of badass women, visit womenwhobadass.com to sign up for your free trial membership.